Hi, everybody. Aaron DeHart here, and I am here once again with my good buddy, John Peretti, who I've been very good friends with for 25 years now.
At least 25, 27
Yep.
years. Yeah.
And we've both been in the real estate industry, myself as a lender for 19 years now, and Johnny's been doing real estate 22?
22.
22 years.
22.
Dude, I got it right. 22 years. So today we want to talk about in the super competitive market. And here's what's cool. If you're seeing this video in Reno, Nevada, Las Vegas, California, Texas, Missouri, Vermont, wherever you're at, this is going to apply nationwide because everybody's markets are very similar. We have a housing shortage right now, so it's very competitive out there. So I wanted to bring in Johnny as a professional real estate agent who does a lot of listings and also represents a lot of buyers to kind of go through both aspects of what it takes to get your offer accepted in this competitive market. So, Johnny, let's just say, I'm buying another house and we're going out there and looking, and you're representing me as the buyer. What are some things that we want to do to help make our offer stand out in this competitive market? Because it's not uncommon. 5, 10, 15, sometimes 20, depending on the property, different offers on that house. So what are some things that you can do with your clients or someone that's looking to buy a house to really stand out in that stack of offers that are being written?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we are still in that competitive market. It's not quite as bad as it was last year, maybe, or the year before. We're not seeing quite as many offers, that it's attributed to, the rise in pricing of the houses, for one. The market's gone up so much. And then interest rates obviously is affecting some things. We haven't seen a huge impact yet, but the purchasing power has gone way down. So when we first meet with the buyer, I think one of the most important things is educating them right up front to what to expect and what expectations we would have of them, because it is competitive, and buyers in the last several years, especially, you get frustrated. I mean, you could be there's a lot of agents that write numerous offers and don't get anything accepted. So I'd say right up front, expectations and education and what to expect. And then, I mean, there's a lot of things that attribute a good offer over some others. I mean, unfortunately, in this market, due to pricing, a lot of due diligence on how the house is priced compared to recent sales, other listings that are currently pending, doing a lot of due diligence in that respect, because in most cases, I'd say you have to put some type of either an appraisal waiver or offer a certain amount over appraised value if the appraisal comes in lower than that contract price. In a lot of cases, the houses listed are selling for much more than what the recent comparable sales are. Mm-hmm. So you're having to pay more than appraised value in a lot of cases. So that's a big one.
So it's a good idea so it's a good idea as someone as a prospective buyer, hey, you might want to have some extra reserves set aside just in case you have to cover an appraisal gap.
Yes. Yeah. And really having the experience to explain that to a buyer, what does that really mean? Obviously, you have less to put down on the house. And if your debt to income ratio is in an area where it's very close, that could affect getting that loan approval too. If your debt to income ratio is going to be greatly affected by maybe having to cover some of that discrepancy in appraised value compared to sales price.
Absolutely. So one thing I encourage a lot of clients is right now, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is not just be pre-approved, but get fully underwritten minus a property. Typically in regular markets or, whatever, a pre-approval is fine. We've reviewed clients' documentation. Now we're taking it one step further. I actually want my underwriter to say, hey, this loan's approved. I just need an appraisal, a prelim, which is, the legal description of the property, and some updated stuff, from the bar when we get in there. Still a good idea out there to do that?
Oh, absolutely. And really, um, giving that information to if you're the listing agent, or if you're the buyer's agent, giving that information to the listing agent, and vice versa. Because if you have a fully underwritten buyer, that's a huge benefit you have over somebody that might throw in, and especially from a local lender like yourself. I mean, it's, as a listing agent and being a long time or lifelong resident of Reno, born and raised here, having somebody that knows the market, having a local lender, local underwriters, local appraisers that they deal with, very important, rather than getting a pre-approval from, Rocket Mortgage or some guy that they deal with out of Florida. I look at that on every single deal, and I call the agents too. If I have somebody fully underwritten, which I try to on every deal that I have with a buyer, I'll call that agent and tell them that, send them that pre-approval letter, and try to build that rapport with that agent. Because in a lot of cases, and I mean, whether it's in business or personal relationships anymore, I don't think we communicate the way we should anymore. I mean, it's email, it's texts, it's social media. We don't call each other enough anymore. And that's, the business has changed dramatically in that respect. So I'm always on the horn. I call those agents, and obviously I've been doing this so long, and I do a lot of deals every year. I have good relationships, a very good reputation in the industry, and that helps. They know if I bring a buyer, I'm getting the deal done. I'm not somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. The deal's going to go through, but call them. Talk to the agent about things. Let them know what's going on. Tell them a little bit about your buyers and how strong financially they are, or whatever the most important aspect of that agent is looking for. You got to talk to them about that.
Yeah, I'd say that's a great point for someone who's been doing it as long as you have. You're going to know a lot of the agents out there. So, a lot of times an offer comes across, and, the agent representing the seller, hey, you know what? I know John Peretti. I've done numerous deals with this guys over the years, straight shooter, everything's on the up and up. Hey, let's look at this and entertain this. Let me call John, have a conversation with him. And a lot of times that can make or break, the deal, getting accepted for your buyers. So absolutely.
Well, it does. And yeah, and like I was just saying, a lot of agents, because we're flooded with new agents in this market. And a lot of times if I have a house listed and I have multiple offers, I'll get these offers just emailed to me, no call, no communication whatsoever. I'll just see it come through my email, and they say, please confirm receipt. They didn't even tell me that maybe they were sending an offer. So if I have another agent that has called me, has chatted with me, told me all about their buyers, build a rapport, and the offers are very, very similar, yeah, that's going to have an effect. And I might say, hey, this person called me. I talked to their lender called me. It was really good communication. I feel I can tell my seller, I feel stronger about this person over this person, and this is why. Even though, I mean, it's a seller's choice on making that decision on that offer, but it'll make an effect. I'll definitely have my input.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. sellers have hired you to represent them in their best interest. So they're obviously going to take into account, your 2 cents and what you're adding into it. And don't be afraid to have, your lender reach out to the seller side too. I always encourage that. Hey, if you have any questions, please give me a call. Obviously, legality and what I'm allowed to discuss with you, with our buyer. But absolutely, I have no problem having a conversation with the listing agent saying, yep, they're very well qualified. We've already done this. We've already done that. Hey, we'll close this loan for you, unless, heaven forbid, they lose their income or there's something wrong with the house that doesn't allow financing on anyways with that. So fantastic. So
yeah, I do that fairly often, or at least encourage that listing agent, if I'm representing the buyer, to call. Hey, my lender's more than happy to talk to you about it. I'd be happy to have him call you, him or her, because that absolutely helps. And there's other things we can do. Obviously, having a lot of experience writing a very thorough offer, a very accurate offer, nothing left blank, no mistakes, reading comments from a listing agent that might have special requirements in their private remarks on what has to be included in that offer, because a lot of agents don't even look at that now. And you get these offers that are totally incomplete, or we require certain paperwork. They don't even look at it. They're not even aware of it, or they'll forget the pre-approval letter or other documents that you might need. It's just us long timers. I mean, we're covering other people's butts right now because we're dealing with so many inexperienced agents out there.
Yep. So John and I did a really good interview back in March. I think it was March or April of 2020. And it was right when it was literally, I think, a week or 2 weeks after the nationwide lockdown happened. And we were still doing real estate and lending during that time. So we're still doing real estate and lending right now, guys, with that. So John, anything else that you can add, for anybody that's watching this, like, hey, I really want to buy a house, but now they're scared. The media's number one job, I always tell people, is to sell ad revenue. It really is. And unfortunately, as human beings, we're wired to where we're going to watch more bad news stuff than we are about little Timmy's kitty cat getting rescued out of the tree.
It's doom and gloom.
Yeah, so doom and gloom. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. So that's the media's job. And a lot of times the media will provide inaccurate, that is not correct information out there. So anybody watching this, Johnny, is this still a good time to buy a home? I always tell people the best time was yesterday. The next best time is today. So,
yeah. And, it's funny in real estate, everybody says the most important thing is location, location, location. Well, that's one thing, but more importantly is timing. I mean, timing is everything. And yeah, I think it's still a great time to buy. People are freaking out about interest rates a little bit because we were low for very, very low for so long. We're still well below the lifetime average of mortgage rates. And people think, well, I'm not going to buy right now. I'm going to rent for a year and see what happens. I think those people are in for a rude awakening, because even with interest rates up, when those interest rates go up and people decide not to buy, the rental market, those are going to increase more than the housing prices by far. So our rental market is crazy right now. Probably it's more competitive than the purchase market.
I agree.
And if people looked at rental rates right now before they decided not to buy, I think they're going to freak out even more so, because it's nuts what people are paying in rent.
Yeah, if you look historically over the past few years, and I always explain this to people. So first and foremost, mortgage rates during COVID and 2020 and 2021, those were artificially low. The federal government stepped in, bought billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of mortgage-backed securities, which is where we get our interest rates at. And it's simple supply versus demand. The more money that's available to lend out, guess what? The cheaper it can be lent out at. And now that we've, pretty much gotten through that and we're kind of going into a normal recovery market, the average interest rate over the last 50 years is 9%. So we're still at historical lows. It's a little bit of a shock to the system when it's happened so quickly, like it has in the past few months with that.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Yeah. One of the best investments you can make for you and your family to build wealth is investing in real estate, so
yeah.
Awesome. Johnny, anything else you can add to that, bud, on what someone can do to help get their offer accepted in this market?
Call you.
Call me. Yeah.
Call me.
Yeah. The biggest thing, guys, is start your journey early. I always tell people, one, do not treat your loan application or your pre-approval process like it's a fast food drive-through. It's not. Every single loan's different. It's a snowflake. If Johnny was my client right now and he was buying 3 different houses at the same time, every single one would go different. It's just plain and simple. So take the time to get properly pre-approved, get your credit pulled. It does not hurt your credit. regardless of what people think. But that enables us to do on the lending side a nice, thorough, complete job for you. With that. So take the time to do that, get your documentation together, and start the journey early. Too many times I see people, I call it the 10 o'clock at night conversation, and it's a Saturday night. Let's go buy a house. And Sunday morning, they're wanting to go look at houses without even having the first step, properly. Do we even know how much home we can afford? And I've seen that happen before for people. We found our dream house. Okay, cool. I need all your stuff from you. And then we get their stuff only to find out they qualify for 100,000 less, 150,000 less, 200,000 or less. So start your journey early with that. Johnny, super trusted. Sorry, Johnny, go ahead.
Interview realtors too, because it's very, very important, like I said earlier, to get somebody with experience that knows how to write that offer, that knows what your needs are, that knows how to work with that lender and work with those other agents, because that exact point could happen. And, there's so many, my brother's mother's uncle's best friend just got their license. Well, bad idea, because it typically doesn't turn out very well.
Yeah, so it's great for wanting to support the family and a family's friend, but at the end of the day, unless you win the lottery and you're buying a $10 million house, we're kind of responsible for a $10 million yacht or something like that. We're responsible for kind of handling and navigating probably the largest financial transaction that you're ever going to do, in your life. And we treat it that way. It's a big deal. So
absolutely. Awesome.
Well, Johnny, anything else for me today, bud?
No, I'm good. No. Thanks for the opportunity here. I love it.
That was great. Johnny, anybody wants to reach out to you and ask any questions, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I have my brokerage is Corcoran Global Living. I work under Peretti Real Estate Group. They can go to PerettiRealEstate.com, or my cell is 775-690-1256.
Awesome. And I'll put that information below the video as well, too. Johnny, always a pleasure, buddy. Thank you for your time, man. Great interview and great information to help folks out there that might be looking to get out there and buy. The weather's getting nice now. Summer's getting awesome. Great opportunity to look out there. But like I said earlier, the best time to buy a house was yesterday. The next best time is today. So you can never start too early and help and develop wealth for your family. John, thanks, buddy. Always a pleasure. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. Awesome. Take care.
Bye-bye.